It's been 3 years since my son, Daniel, died. Some mornings I wake up and still expect to hear his footsteps down the hallway. The sound of his laughter filling the kitchen as he made his awful instant coffee. But all I hear now is silence, the kind that presses against your chest and doesn't let you breathe. He was 23, a car accident on a rainy night. They said he didn't feel a thing. I never believed them. I remember holding his jacket at the hospital, still warm, still smelling like him, and thinking, how can the world just keep going? People say grief gets easier. It doesn't. You just get better at pretending you're okay. Every Sunday I visit his grave. I talk to him, tell him how the garden's doing, how the neighbor's cat keeps stealing my tomatoes. I always bring yellow tulips, his favorite. They remind me of the sun. He used to say, "Mom, if I die young, promise you'll bring me sunshine." And I promised. It happened on a Thursday. I was coming home from the grocery store when I saw him, standing at the bus stop near my street. Same height, same messy brown hair, even the same old denim jacket Daniel used to wear. For a moment, I froze. The world went quiet. He turned, and my heart stopped. That face, those eyes, it was him. Of course it couldn't be, but it was. At least, that's what my heart told me. I dropped my groceries, oranges rolling across the sidewalk. He looked up and smiled. A small, polite smile. But it wasn't the smile of someone who knew me. It was the smile of a stranger. Still, I couldn't stop staring. When the bus came, he got on. I ran a few steps forward, shouting, "Wait!" But the doors closed, and the bus drove away. For the first time in years, I felt something other than grief. I felt hope. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing that boy's face, the same dimples, the same way Daniel used to tilt his head when he listened. The next day, I went back to that bus stop, and the next. For a week straight, I waited. On the 8th day, he came again. Same jacket, same smile. My hands were shaking as I walked up to him. "Excuse me," I said softly. "You look familiar." He blinked, confused. Maybe I've seen you around?" His voice, it was deeper, but something in the tone made my heart twist. You look a lot like my son." "Oh," he said, smiling gently. "I get that sometimes. I guess I just have one of those faces." But then I noticed something. A small scar on his right eyebrow, exactly where Daniel had one from falling off his bike when he was 10. Tears filled my eyes. "What's your name?" "Chris," he said. "Chris Nolan." I whispered under my breath, "Daniel Christopher Nolan." He looked puzzled. "Ma'am, are you okay?" I just nodded and smiled. Yes, I'm fine." But inside, my world was spinning. Over the next few weeks, I started seeing him more often. At the coffee shop, at the park, at the old bookstore Daniel used to love. Sometimes he'd wave, sometimes we'd talk. I learned he lived nearby, worked part-time at a hardware store, and was saving for college. The more I learned, the more I realized how similar they were. Their laugh, their kindness, even their habit of tapping their fingers when they thought too much. One afternoon, he helped me carry my groceries home. When he saw the photo of Daniel on my mantle, he froze. "That's your son?" "Yes," I said softly. "He died 3 years ago." He looked at the photo for a long time, eyes softening. "He looks a lot like me. You could be twins," I whispered. He smiled awkwardly and said, "Guess the universe likes to recycle faces." We both laughed. but I saw the confusion in his eyes. Before leaving, he said, "It was nice meeting you, ma'am." And I replied, "Call me Claire." When he left, the house didn't feel so cold anymore. One evening, I went through Daniel's old things, his letters, his drawings, the keepsakes I'd kept locked away. There was one envelope I'd never opened, from the hospital. Inside was an adoption document. My hands trembled. Daniel wasn't my biological son. He'd been adopted as an infant. I had always known that, but I'd never seen the original file. And now, for the first time, I saw the name of his birth mother, Linda Nolan. Nolan, the same last name as Chris. My heart started pounding. Could it be? The next day, I went to the hardware store. When Chris saw me, he smiled. But I must have looked pale as a ghost. "Chris," I whispered, "what was your mother's name?" "Linda," he said. "She died when I was little." "Why?" Tears blurred my vision. I whispered, "Oh my God, you're his brother." He froze, staring at me. "What are you talking about?" I showed him the document, hands shaking. He read it in silence. When he looked up, his eyes were wide, shimmering. "You mean Daniel was my brother?" I nodded, tears streaming down my face. He sank into a chair, his hands covering his mouth. "I always felt like something was missing," he whispered. We spent hours talking that night. I told him about Daniel, his childhood, his favorite songs, the way he always stayed up too late painting the stars on his ceiling. Chris told me about growing up in foster care after his mother passed away, never knowing he had a brother. Every detail connected like puzzle pieces that had been waiting years to meet. When he left that night, he said softly, "Thank you for giving him the life I never had." I held his hand and said, "No, Chris. Thank you for bringing him back to me, even for a little while." From that day on, he started visiting often. We'd talk for hours about Daniel, about life, about forgiveness. It felt like my heart was healing piece by piece. A year later, Chris got accepted into college, the same one Daniel had dreamed of attending. Before he left, he came to visit me. He handed me a small box. "I found this in my mom's things," he said. Inside was an old baby bracelet, engraved with 2 letters, DN. He smiled through tears. Guess she kept something from both of us. I hugged him tightly, whispering, "Take care of yourself, my boy." He replied, "You too, Mom." When he walked away, I felt the same ache I had the day Daniel left for college. But this time, it wasn't loss. It was peace. Every Sunday now, I still bring yellow tulips, but not just for Daniel, for both of them, because somehow life gave me 2 sons, one I raised and one I found. And maybe, just maybe, that's how love finds its way back home.